Welcome back. This real talk. We talk about real issues and so forth. Hey, yo, I got something that's gonna make everybody like, what the fuck is going on with this shit? Speciesism. There's no such thing as racism. It's speciesism. I can prove this, by the way. Stick with me. Now, the so-called white man, Caucasians, come to Caucasus Mountains of Russia. People like Donald Trump, people like Joe Biden and shit. White people, right? They come from the Caucasus Mountains of Russia. So they're technically Russian, not European, because Europeans as a forth was us black, Hispanic, Native American people at first. That's why you got to think about the phrase Afro-European. So they didn't. So white people didn't come from Europe; they came from Russia. Now this would mean and so forth that the Neanderthals came from Russia. If the Neanderthals came from Russia, then essentially it's speciesism. Speciesism is the phrase we should use because speciesism would mean that all of us melanated people that was in slavery, reservations, plantations, enslavement all around the whole entire globe were victims of speciesism, not racism. Racism is how they justify destroying the lives of every nationality that is not their own. That way, they can sit back and manipulate every nationality. And so it's speciesism. If you want to destroy the philosophies of racism, learn the phrase speciesism. Because human beings in the Neanderthals existed since ancient times and still do to this day. The Neanderthals do not have melanin. Human beings have a hue or melanated, which is our skin, our complexion, our skin. We have skin that has melanin. The so-called supremacist does not have melanin because they're not human beings. They're the Neanderthals from Russia, from the Caucasus of Russia. They're the Neanderthals. Us black, Hispanic, Native American people, and other nationalities are all known as human beings. The so-called white people like motherfucking Donald Trump and Joe Biden, the Ku Klux Klan, the Nazis, all that type of shit. The Ashkenazis in Germany or the Vatican and Rome, like Pope John Francis and shit. Those are the Neanderthals. They're not human beings. So it's speciesism, not racism. If all of us people are so-called minorities, realize that it's impossible to call us minorities. Think about this: how many different differentials of people on this planet are considered as minorities, right? How is it then that one species can sit back and call every single person on this planet that is a so-called minority a minority if there's so many different varieties of so-called minorities? This would mean that we're actually all equally together as the majority. If all of us people, this victims of slavery, is majorities, this would mean that the people at the Ku Klux Klan, the Nazis, Partey groups, they're really the ones that's minorities, and they lied to everyone. So it essentially means that it's speciesism, not racism. Racism is how they trap everyone for systematical destruction because of our skin. It's speciesism. Now, if all people, their ancestors were slaves, realize it's speciesism, then social injustice would stop like that. But we don't know that because we live in a miseducational school system where they purposely undereducate us so we don't think about none of that type of shit. You know why? Because they want us to stay as slaves. But we're raising revolutionaries, not slaves out here. So it's speciesism. The Ku Klux Klan is the Neanderthal. The neo-Nazis are the Neanderthals. George Bush Jr. is the Neanderthal. Joe Biden is the Neanderthal. All these racist supremacists is speciesist. Once we look at life that way, we'll realize that they lie to all of us. The government manipulates every single minority. So that all minorities, as they call us, think we're minorities, but in actual reality, we're not minorities at all. Facts. In fact, it's estimated 7.5 billion people on the planet. 7.3 billion people just happen to be black, Hispanic, Native Indigenous, Aboriginal people. So we're over 75% of the planet. So how the fuck are we minorities? We're the majority of the planet. They lied. So the Ku Klux Klan, neo-Nazis, supremacist hate groups, they're the Agnathos, scientifically. And you can research this yourself. And even scientists, even the Agnathos scientists admit to this shit. It's facts. All right. Hit the subscribe button and so forth. You know what I'm saying? Leave comments. Let me know what y'all think. You know what I'm saying? Let's talk about it. Real talk. Out. Peace.